Good evening, everybody. Welcome, everybody. Good evening. How's everybody doing? I'm Oscar Blue for America's Voice. How is everybody doing? Good evening to everybody. God bless my country of Mexico and my city of Tijuana. And God bless the United States of America and everybody that is watching us. Good evening to everybody. Good morning in the West Coast, and good evening to everybody that is watching us on the East Coast and Central Time and Mountain Time. How's everybody doing? This, people, this right here is the largest shelter in Latin America, and the largest shelter in Mexico country. This right here is a shelter for 5,000 people that it was speculated to be built, and that it was speculated to be done by the federal government of Mexico on this year. This has caused a lot of controversy in Mexican citizens, and it has caused a lot of problems for Mexican citizens also to see where the priorities are regarding Mexican citizens and regarding the security of Mexico. The Democrat agenda, the socialist agenda, the leftist agenda, and all of this agenda had pushed caravans to come into our country and also to go and ask for the political asylum into the United States. This, people, is a shelter for 5,000 people, for the capacity of 5,000. This right here is a shelter that has hospitals, that has a medical care, that has lawyers, that has an office for the United Nations and for the Human Rights Department, and also has the National Guard in there for security packaging and for the security of the intern shelter. It was impossible for me to go in, as I was invited for the grand opening, but I was not invited, and nobody in the press, it is allowed to go in the shelter. Nobody is allowed to go in the shelter. They have security inside the shelter in the front door, armed, 2 officers armed in the front door, and they have 1 security officer all the way to the back to the parking lot. They have 5 National Guard soldiers inside the shelter. Why so much security? Why so much? Why? Why we keep building shelters with this mass capacity? What does this mean? It means, people, that it's going to continue. It means that the fluency of migrants is not going to stop. And it means that this fluency and these massive caravans are going to continue to come. I'm going to continue and continue. And I'm sorry for this terminology that I'm about to use, but it's a recycle business of migrants. Migrants go in, they ask for asylum, ICE takes them, they deport them, and then the shelter takes them back. It is a recycle. It is a cycle of business that are using for people. And as Mexico has become the third world secure country, that is a mistake. Mexico has signed the International Pact on Immigration. That is a mistake. And how can you become a third world secure country when this border of Tijuana has more than 245 murders per month? And that the president of Mexico, the worst president when it comes to insecurity on his first year, has more than 35,000 murders in 1 year. And it has turned the violence and killings in women from number 3 in the world to number 2. And it has become the number 1 in cartel activity and number 1 on farming amapola in the world, and number 4 in the world for violence and delinquency and dangerous in a border next to Afghanistan, Iraq, North Korea, Mexico with the United States, and now Syria. This is the shelter, people, for 5,000 people. This right here is the shelter, and I cannot go in. They gave me an email for me to, again, ask for the appointment, and they are not going to allow no social media, no mainstream media inside the shelter. Nobody is allowed to go in. Why so much security? Why so much? There's something behind this. And let me flip the camera so you guys can see the property as we are going to keep talking about this massive shelter. You can see doctors right here, and you can see security officers. As I told you, 2 armed security officers. The property is huge, and it's called Centro Integrador para Migrante Carmen Cerdán. Integrated Center for Migrants Carmen Cerdán. That is the name. And let us walk right now as the question that I'm about to ask you. All these property, look at this. All of this property, how huge it is. You see nurses right there inside the building. And all this property, I want to ask a question to all of you guys in the feed. Does the Democrat agenda and the Socialist Democrat agenda, does it influence and does it affect Mexico? Does the Democrat agenda and the Socialist agenda, does it affect Mexico? And it completely, 1,000,000% affects Mexico. Why? Because the Democrats want open borders, and they want these caravans to keep on coming. Because of that agenda that they keep on pushing, the Mexican government feels supported. They feel that they got a backbone from the United States, and they feel that somebody is backing them up. So they start building these shelters, federal funded, which they know that ultimately is going to lead for people to be asking asylum to the United States massively. Now, they say that the capacity right here for this huge warehouse is for 3,000 people. I'm going to the backside. They're telling us that it's a capacity for 3,000 people. Now, I'm going to walk all the way around the warehouse, and I'm going to show you guys the property, how close it is to a mountain, and how far away from the city is it, and how the protection is to get in. Now, this is the front. The capacity is for, they say that it's 3,000, but if they put people on the floor and they put people on another part of the building, it's going to be for 5,000. We see security right here. And as we are going to walk, this is the whole entrance, people. All the way to the back, you see a security gate right there. And there's another security guard in that little house. Population is all the way to the back. And this is the mountain of Cerro Colorado. Now, I'm going to try to go all the way to the back to show you guys right here. How huge is it? This is big. This is huge. And the problem is that, you know, meanwhile, they're saying that there's not a crisis at the border. That they're saying that there is not a crisis in each border on the six states of Mexico that you know that they are together with the United States. All the 6 states. That all these Democrat Congress people, they're saying there's no crisis at the border. There's none. You keep inviting all these people. And recently we had a case, and it's an amazing case where a migrant from El Salvador, he came with his family and he got involved with activity with the cartel. He was found dismembered, his body in two bags, and he left his wife and his child alone. This tells you a lot about how Tijuana, Baja California is insecure. Is the #1 country and #1 city in the world for violence and delinquency, in homicides and killings. And you're inviting all of this to come. All of these socialist, liberals, Democrats, that they don't know that it's affecting completely our country. This is the 5,000 people shelter right here. people. It's huge. It's big. And the question is, does this Democrat agenda affect Mexico? It completely does. As they are trying to push the open border agenda. Look how it's close to the mountain. As we are walking right now, behind the property, as they are trying to build a soccer field on the back. And apparently this property right here on the back, the security guard told me that they are going to build a school right here on the back for the kids, migrants, the migrant kids. As they have portable bathrooms right here on the back. They got more than 20 portable bathrooms right here. And this is the entrance for the people that want to donate and contribute huge amounts of food. You got a bobtail right here parked outside. This is the property, people. It's humongous. And as I told you guys a little bit earlier, as I got here, I tried to get in there, but they said, you know what, there's a process now for getting into shelters. It's not going to be easy. Let me just try to get up here so you guys can see how big is the property. All of this. And you got security guards all the way to the back right here, as they're watching me right now. Apparently they don't want nobody to record nothing. Nobody to record nothing. So there was an incident with another social media right here, another mainstream media. There was an incident that he tried to get in through this part, and security got him out. He was a really recognized reporter right here in the city of Tijuana, Baja California, and he was kicked out. So a recap for everybody. Let me flip the camera right here. How's everybody doing? I'm Oscar Blue for America's Voice. Good morning to everybody. Good evening to everybody in the United States of America. There's a lot of questions that you guys are asking me on the feed. Who's funding? Who lives there? You know, clearly there's a fund from the United Nations, as we saw in our reporting. You can follow me, subscribe to my channel on YouTube at Oscar Blue. You can find there a reporting at a shelter, really recognized shelter right here in Tijuana that is called Agape Shelter. That shelter, the United Nations came over there and gave 18 bunk beds, as the United Nations is coming now to our city and penetrating and infiltrating to fund this. You know, they say that it's federal funded, but the United Nations has a lot to do now with all of this that is happening. With all of this. And not only they have the United Nations office in there, they have a lawyer's office for immigration issues or pending process. And also they have security. My God, they have security. They got better security than Mexicans, man. They got one security guard all the way to the entrance. They got 2 armed security guards in the door. They got 5 National Guard officers in there. They got 2 security guards in the back, armed security guards. And this is amazing. It's for 5,000 people. Now, what is this going to provoke, people? This Democrat agenda, this socialist agenda, this leftist agenda, this, you know, open border agenda. What does this provoke? It provokes a massive human trafficking. It provokes a massive child trafficking. It provokes that people start coming and inviting unexpectedly. And they bumped in an insecure country that is Mexico. That is the number 3 in the world for violence and delinquency and killings and trafficking of people. It is the number 2 in the world for killings of women. So you invite them to an insecure country. And cases like the one that I mentioned, that that a migrant was killed and dismembered their bodies, and they found it on 2 bags. Cases like that, they're going to start occurring. And unfortunately, they are occurring in our country. Migrants are, they're starting to say that they feel really insecure in Mexico. By God, man, stay in your country. If you feel really insecure in our country, stay in your country, for God's sake. There's a United Nations Pact of Immigration. Canada signed it. Mexico signed it. The United States did not sign it. And people that they're watching, please watch the video of the International Global Pact of Education. There's another global pact that is going on, that is the Global Pact of Education. Let's read that, because the Pope and the Vatican are the ones that they're pushing the Global Pact of Education. And it's going to be signed again by Canada, and it's going to be signed again by Mexico. Hopefully the United States doesn't sign it. It's going to be on the 14th of May of 2020. The Global Pact of Education, it brings religions together, as the Pope got together with an imam from Abu Dhabi, Al-Hazar. As Al-Hazar said, God likes diversity of religions. You gotta be kidding me with that. What do you think? You have a deep connection with God? Not God comes down and tells you, you have a diversity of religions? It is amazing. It is amazing how the Vatican right now is pushing a pact that is called the Global Pact of Education. Google that, find that out, and hopefully if it doesn't get signed now, the consequences about this global pact are enormous. One of them, and the first one, is indoctrination of education to everybody for the Agenda 2030, that we need to read about that, people. Agenda 2030, the indoctrination of children. They're going to change the mentality and the education of children to be globalists. Now, the other mentality and the other thing that is preoccupying, children are going to be trafficked a lot with this global pact of education. It's going to be an evil and demonic pact. It is amazing how 154 countries, they're coming real strong as globalists, and they're coming real strong as the elite. They're trying to take over, the number one things that they're patriotism, nationalism, love for your country, love for your laws, all of these beautiful things. They're trying to take them away. And right now, we are, watching with our own eyes, people. In front of us, they're creating global pacts year by year. And there's a speculated global pact of saving the environment. That is the next one. So it's going to be created. So what is this Democrat, socialist and elite agenda bringing? 5,000 people shelter right here. Created. We got more than 60 million in poverty in Mexico, more than 28 million in critical condition, 68 million without medical care. There's poverty in California, people in tents. There's poverty around the United States. There's, you got a president that's trying to get the economy better, and he's trying to get the ball rolling, and you got all these people trying to build this. Humongous. Huge, people. Huge. Let me show you the property again. We are going to try to walk. There's another security guard right here that just came over here to the door. They don't let you record that much. This is outside of the street. They can't say anything, but it is amazing, people. Look at this. This is huge. Let me just show you on who is on the other side of the property. Right here, you got a parking lot for trailers and tractors that is part of the property. Right here, you got a parking lot for trailers and tractors right here. That is part of the property also. So what is this going at? There's a complication, that there's a consequence, people. A lot of drug smugglers, a lot of human traffickers are going to be living around this area. And as you guys have seen, Ben Verquam and myself and Anthony Agüero have shown you guys how socialists and activists are over here living in our country. Foreigners have been foreigners in a foreign country. Amazing. and how these activists and these liberals are over here to push this open border agenda over here in our country, and how we got lawyers practicing law unlawfully from the United States, from the ACLU, over here in our country of Mexico, violating Article 30 of our Constitution. It's amazing. Property is huge. And there's a program, there's a question right here that is really important. Dina Bylock says, Oscar, what did they do all day? That is a really amazing question. It's a really important question. There's going to be a job fair. It's not going to be that far away from now. There's going to be a job fair next week. That is what they're telling me. And this job fair is going to create, and they're going to invite, because there's a plant industry right here. There's a lot of warehouses all the way around this place where they can find a job. And check this out. There's an abandoned property with more than 7 buildings of complex. Each building has 6 apartments. Those apartments and those buildings are going to be bought by the federal government to give an opportunity to these people to get a property. I don't got nothing against them, man. If they trying to create a better life. For God's sake, there's priorities. And our citizens are suffering as exactly the same way that the United States citizens are suffering. And they're spending millions and millions of dollars and millions of pesos. To be exact, $188.9 billion. They were spent by the United States between 2017 and 2018 on illegal migrants, irregular migrants per se. So this is the entrance for everybody that is watching. This is the entrance to the shelter Carmen Cerdán for 3,000 to 5,000 people. The reality and the truth, people, immigration is not going to stop. The fluency of migrants is not going to stop. And for everybody that is thinking, even the United States government, that is going to stop, it is not. It is not. It's going to continue. It's a recycle business. You guys know who's the owner of CCA, the prison, the private prisons, the CCAs, the MCCs, the GOs. All of those private prisons are the elite, the Democrats, the socialists. They're owners of those private prisons. So what do? They want all these irregular migrants to come in because it's a business for them. And then they deport them. And then they put them back. So it's a recycle business. This is on the other side of the property for everybody that wants to know. What's on the other side is a mountain. Huge mountain. Split the camera right here real quick. How's everybody doing? Good evening. Good evening. It's morning over here. Good morning to everybody in the West Coast. Good evening to everybody in the East Coast Mountain Time and Central Time, I think. So it's evening. Be with you guys this morning, to be broadcasting to you. I've been away for a little while, but we're back right here in America's Voice. And we are going to do a live broadcast probably tomorrow again of the wall and of our city, so you guys can get the update on how the wall is getting built on a part of a mountain, on another part of a mountain. I already brought you guys broadcast as I climbed a mountain almost like this one, bigger as this one, to bring you guys the reality, the truth on where is the wall getting built and how the American workers are going off and off and on, building a wall. We're going to be tomorrow to bring you that live broadcast, as we are live today over here at this shelter, the 5,000 people shelter. I was invited to the conference, but nobody they're letting in. They're not letting in nobody. They're not letting in nobody. Not even mainstream media. Not even social media. Not even nothing. They're not letting nobody in that shelter. Something is fishy. Something is going on over there. They're only governmental officials, that they're not the people. It's coming out of our taxes. It's federal funded. Why we don't have the authority to go in? Why not? We should know what is happening over there. We should know how much money. We should know how they're building. There's a lot of homeless people in Tijuana. People want to get results. People want to know, how is this federal funded, and where are the Mexican and Tijuana people? So, God bless everybody that is watching this little short live feed. I did it for you guys, as this needed to get out, and this needed to be exposed. There's going to be a world conference. Hear this out. There's going to be a world conference with people from more parts of the world are going to come here, and Ben Berquam, and also probably, Ben Berquam and myself and Anthony Agüero, we're going to be right here at this world conference to try to ask these people, how about always your country first? Where it disappear? The word priorities, why it disappeared? When did it disappear for you guys? When did it begin as a globalist? When did it begin as, a globalist agenda? When did it started? So, it was really nice talking to you guys this morning. Share this feed. God bless you all. Stay safe. And always remember, follow my partner, Conservative Anthony, as he is running for Congress at District 16 of El Paso. Follow him as he's trying to make El Paso great, clean up his help and support his homeless veterans, do as much as he can for his people. Follow my partner, Conservative Anthony, as he's running for District 16 of El Paso. And also follow the captain, Ben Berquam, as he's doing an excellent job, man. Magnificent job. And he's going at every meeting, at every impeachment, and asking all these crooked politicians in your country of the United States, what are you trying to impeach the President of the United States? Follow also Ben Berquam, and you can follow me at my public figure page, Oscar Blue. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel as Oscar Blue, Twitter as Oscar Blue, Border Network News. And God bless you all. Stay safe, and always remember, peace and love, everybody, because always your country is first.